for it.
Welcome to the Couch Co-op Podcast, where we're all about kicking back, grabbing a beer, and diving into the wonderful world of video games. Tonight, we've got a lineup of topics that'll have you ready to power up and get gaming. First up, we've got our weekly segment, Aaron's Mobile Minute, where we hear from Aaron about his latest mobile game addiction. Will he have found a new game to recommend, or will he be stuck in a gaming rut? Stay tuned to find out. Then we'll hear from our resident beer expert, Lord Beerstro, who's here to give us his latest picks for the perfect brew to pair with our gaming sessions. Get ready to take some notes. After that, we'll dive into our water cooler topic of the night, what we've been playing lately, and see what's on each other's gaming playlists. It's always fun to get some recommendations from fellow gamers. And of course, we've been busy slaying bosses and leveling up, and we're proud to say that we've beaten some seriously epic games. From the depths of dark dungeons to the far reaches of the galaxy, we've conquered them all and emerged victorious. Get ready for a rundown of our most epic gaming conquests yet. You won't want to miss it. But our main event tonight is our top 3 favorite 2D games from any generation. We'll be sharing our picks and debating what makes a 2D game truly great. So sit back, grab your controller, and get ready to join the fun. The Couch Co-op Podcast starts now.
Woot!
Ooh.
Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op. Couch Co-op.
Hello, Couch Co-opers, Couch Potatoes, Couch Codependents. This is the Couch Co-op Show. Woo! I'm in. I got John, Nick, Dave, and Aaron with me on the show tonight. Jared messaged in and said he couldn't make it tonight. He wasn't allowed to do anything this weekend, was he, Nick?
No, I guess not. Except
He's in softball
deliver
prison.
some. Yeah.
Deliver some cookies.
Softball. Oh yeah, that's right. Delivery
Well,
stuff.
apparently, he had to contract out to deliver the cookies.
Oh, he did. He did have to do that. Yep.
Mhm.
Find us on social media platforms at Couch Co-op Shows, all one word, no hyphen. You can find our podcast on all major platforms, except for some reason Google right now, because they've decided to take Couch Co-op off and replace it with Couch Co-hop. So I got to figure that dilemma. But like whatever. So I'll deal with
Is
that.
it because I've been bitching about Drive?
I don't have no idea. Maybe Google's just
Always
messed
something,
up.
isn't it?
So if you try and find us on Google right now, we're kind of on a little break, so I'll get that figured out. You can watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/milkmanpictures, or you can find us streaming live every Sunday night like we are right now at 9 o'clock on twitch.tv/thecouchcoop show. You can also chat with us live in the chat and ask us questions. Yeah. And how's everyone doing tonight?
A little tired from the day. The heat kind of beat it out of me, but But yeah, I'm all right.
Yeah, it's a little hot here in Oregon.
Yeah,
I have
90
AC, so I'm
something.
good.
Oh, I got it too. It just stepping outside was like, ah.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, I'm kidding.
Well,
I guess
Lord Beerstro,
get on in there.
I'm dead.
are you dead? Are you gonna? We drank heavily last night, so I'm surprised. He said he wasn't going to drink tonight. He said he was going to compare water, but I guess you're actually gonna go for it.
I was half joking.
Oh, he's half joking. You can't let your fans
No, I
down.
wouldn't.
No. All one
I'd
of
let
them.
him down for one night after
Hey,
heavy drinking.
What were
I mean,
the what are the votes from last week?
I don't know. I have to check. I don't fucking know.
I voted.
Did you? Did you vote for Waldo?
Yeah.
Then that's probably the winner. Because last time I looked, it was 100% for Waldo. So I don't know.
I'll do it.
Let me see. I can look it up really quick. I was not prepared for that. Sometimes I forget that even exists because, like, just like everyone else, no one cares.
Mhm.
You should set it to a week though, because I noticed you set it for like 30 days, and it's like we're never going back if it's set to 30 days.
No, but then it just, at least it like allows people that listen way later to chime in, just see if it changes. I mean, I do look at it. I just, let's see, what episode was that? Is that the last episode?
Yeah, the AI.
Hmm.
Everything's running so slow today. I don't know what's up with my computer. Yeah, the Waldo, 100%. No one voted for the other one.
Nice. Were there 2 votes or just the one?
It doesn't say on that part. I'd have to go into the deep analytics. I don't feel like dealing with that right now.
The deep analytics.
The deep analytics of like who voted. Cool. So, I obviously Waldo's is going tonight again. What's going up against it?
Right?
Waldo against Waldo.
Oh, are you
It's
really
still there
doing?
tonight.
Are you
Oh, the
seriously
Waldos.
going to do that again? Oh my god.
Yes.
Oh, that's hardcore.
Poor lever. Poor lever.
Well, at least it'll kind of showcase what aging a beer can do. But although
Right.
in this case, I'm not exactly sure this is really. I mean, the alcohol percentage I think is high enough to where it'll be fine. But I think this is actually a beer you're supposed to drink. They want you to drink fresh.
Yes, that's correct. Even though you can save it, like
Yeah.
most breweries,
That's just
regardless of what
a
they
strong
say, is
beer.
Yeah, isn't it like
Fresh.
8.5 or something?
Well,
I think
they are
it
both
was
11.7.
Oh, that's right, 11.7. Didn't I
I
like
think it was
I like the
Shakespeare.
aged one better? Didn't I though?
I think so.
I think that's
but
what the verdict was last night. Because the
I
hoppiness
think it was
kind of mild,
Shakespeare.
the hoppiness kind of milds out.
I
Mhm.
think it was Shakespeare who said, "What's in an expiration date?"
that's okay. We don't have expiration dates because of a mobster, good old Al Capone.
Expiration dates are for milk and condoms. All right.
Yes.
Let's see. What you guys been playing while Lord Beerstro goes on his beer journey? You guys been playing anything exciting?
I'm about 2/3 of the way
Same.
through Grid Legends. I think it's Grid
Nice.
Legends,
Yes.
and it's pretty good. I'm really enjoying it, but I can't do more than a couple of races at a time because it just like, I've not been able to find a difficulty where it's not too difficult but too easy by the same token. I do my usual. I just don't brake coming into the corners and use the opposition cars to slow me down, and there's kind of no penalty for it. So it is cool when you do the racing, and I like all the different types of cars, but I also find because you have all the different types of cars back to back, you never really get a good feel for a particular type playing through the story, at least. And it really wants to be Drive to Survive, doesn't it?
I mean, I
Story.
guess. I mean, yeah, kind of. Well, I mean, I suppose.
They're
Yeah.
definitely going visually, at least they're going for that look,
The I mean, that game came out a while ago, but because I played it again, but I just put it on easy this second time just to like run through it and get trophies, and
Nice.
but I find I like my thing with that game is that like the story, you're this badass race car, like you yourself, like as you're like racing on easy,
Yeah.
you just beat everybody, right? And but then it's always like your teammate is holding up the team and all this stuff, and I was like, what about me, man? I'm winning, and this person keeps coming in like 4th or 6th, and like, how are they keeping the team together when I'm the one who's winning? So like, I always find that the story is, or then I do the thing where like I really don't like the villain of the game, so I will go because I'm on easy. I can like beat him like
You can
pretty hardcore.
annihilate 'em, yeah.
But that's not even. I go beyond that. I send the main villain car. I try and put him into the wall and have it hold him, so that he finishes last every time. And so like then he's like, oh, Ravensoft or whatever the fuck their race like been competing so strongly, blah blah blah. It's like, no, he's not. He's been losing every single race. Like last place. Like I need the
But-
game's story to start like branching off in a way that's like reflects how awful he's doing. But I
So
find
you've played it twice now, and the
Mm.
story doesn't change
no
depending on your result.
no.
Yeah.
That sounds like that sounds like almost any Final Fantasy game ever. You beat the shit out of the boss or whatever. It's like, oh, you barely hurt me. It's like, fuck you. I fucked you up.
Right?
Fuck you.
But it brings that cool idea that like it'd be cool if a racing game had a story that did have that element of like, you know, if you lost really bad or they lost really bad or you won, you know, it would be more like choose your own adventure versus just a
Yes.
set story.
I think the other thing about that
Yes.
game is it's graphically it's really pretty and it's a really good looking game, and like I notice it, but I think it's just a sign of how far a lot of games have come in that way. It doesn't like stand out to me, even though when I step back, I'm like, wow, it's actually a good looking game.
Well, the Grid series has been around. This is like the 5th game I think in the series, but this is the first time they've done a story mode. Usually it's way more. Well, it's still pretty arcadey, but
On it.
it's
Yeah.
more of it's more career focused instead of this new story thing they did. But I like it. I think on PS3 it was trying to be this like I don't know, because I think that's when it started, but
Mm-hmm.
kind of a competition against Gran Turismo. But it's definitely more arcadey. Cool. You haven't beat it yet, man. I sat down and like beat it in like 2 days.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, fiddling with it, really. I'm not kind of not rushing to get it done. I'll race like 3 or 4 races and then I'll do something else because I don't want to. I also don't want to, I know I could sit down and blow through it and it's probably 5 minutes a race on average, maybe 10 at most. So you could burn through that game easily in a couple of hours. So
I think
How
Dirt
about everyone
5 was
else?
I think Dirt 5 was a better racing game that they gave us for free or whatever. That was a better, funner game. Really. Anyway. Next. John, what have you been playing?
I have a short list. I kind of went on a spree on the PlayStation library, so I tried This Is the Police 2, which it tries to do different elements of different games, like a kind of a choose your own adventure, or kind of it has different branching dialogue paths where you kind of act as a cop. Well, you are a cop. But then
Are
it
you
has
co-op?
elements of XCOM in it where you're trying to strategize where to put your policemen on a board. But I only played it for like 10 or 15 minutes because the dialogue was so bad. I'm done. So
And it's the sequel.
yeah, well, I figured the sequel would be better than the original. So, and I haven't played the original, which is on there. So, I just figure like, well, the sequel usually is better, right?
Maybe not in this case.
Yeah. And then I played Doom 2, which I used to play. That was like one of the first video games I played as a kid. Like I played it so
man.
much I started having nightmares of all the imps and like the monsters and demons in
Were they
Doom.
pixelated in your nightmares?
Yeah. Yeah, they
As a
were.
kid, that can be
They
scary.
were like
As an
low-res
adult, that's silly.
nightmares.
But did the cheat
And,
codes work in your nightmare?
No,
Yes.
yeah.
Damn it.
No God mode? Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
But it's actually a harder game than I figured. Like
Well, there's
I got my ass kicked. I think in the second level, I got blown away by shotgunners, and I'm kind of aware how
nice.
those early Doom games work. It's more about memorizing the map and the enemy placement, and then just kind of figuring out your path and strategy from there. Um, and then I tried Toy Story 3 because I remember when that game came out, I heard good things about it. But apparently on PlayStation, they ported the what was the handheld PlayStation thing,
Vita.
the Sony.
Or the
Well,
PSP.
Vita.
Yeah,
Vita.
it was the PSP
yeah.
Yeah.
version. I was like, what the fuck? And
What's-
so I just played it for 10 minutes. I was like, okay, I'm kind of done. I just thought it was like, what a weird move to put a PlayStation Vita game on PlayStation Plus. I mean, I guess they have to do something with it, but I just thought it was like, well, that's such a weird, because they mix it in with the regular games. But to me, it's like that should be its own thing on PlayStation, where it's like PlayStation Mobile or something like that, where you can play all
Well,
the
I miss
Vita
that.
games.
I don't think they had the Vita
I miss
games
that
or
PSP.
the PSP games up. I think if it was just a port of the Vita game,
Yeah, that's
they probably
what it was.
just it's a kids game and they just don't really care about. They're not really
Yeah, there
concerned
was
about
just a lazy
kids.
conversion.
Yeah.
kind of.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a weird choice to have on there because, like you said, if it's a port, but they don't care, then why is it on? Why even put it on the? Unless you just want content on the
Oh
library.
yeah, they're
but
just they probably just like it was
Pretty
probably
much.
like a license deal with whatever that like what Toy Story is a Disney game. I don't know who developed
yeah,
it.
it was Disney Interactive. That was kind of crazy to see
So,
that logo. I
they-
haven't seen that logo in years.
They probably just have a deal for like a group of licensed games just to add for kids.
Mhm.
And then
Jared probably
Guardians
play
of the
it.
Galaxy, and then Doom 2016, and that's been my playlist.
Nice,
Oh, man.
nice, cool.
Fun.
You didn't beat any of these games, not yet.
Well, that's a different segment, isn't it?
Well, it.
Yeah, you have to stay tuned to that
Oh
segment.
my god, it's like the same segment.
JPK is now the producer.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's under the same
Apparently.
topic. Like,
Look at those underachievers not beating anything.
why beat Grid Legends?
Yeah.
I think I don't know. Did I mention that
week.
last time?
I thought you did. That was why I ended up
Mm.
playing it, but maybe
Maybe
I'm
I didn't.
mistaken.
Maybe I didn't.
Maybe I
Maybe-
So I
talked to
beat
you.
Guardians of the Galaxy again.
There you go.
Ooh. Such
And
a
you know
fun game.
that
I love that game.
they do one thing I missed the first time I beat it because they have Mantis who can see into the future. Well, she can see into multiple timelines. But I love how they take the branching story paths in that game and they tie it to her. And I missed that the first time I played the game.
Huh.
But the second time when she's talking about like this, that, or the other happened, some of it
Mhm.
is related to the game. Most of it is not of what she said. But it wasn't until the end credits because the first time I played the game, I was able to get the War Mind to come and help out with the final battle. But this playthrough, I messed up on trying to convince them, so they didn't show up.
See,
But I thought it was kind of brilliant. Like that's really cool that they were able to add what Mantis does, and tie it into their branching storyline gameplay.
Nice.
that was pretty cool. I remember doing that in the game.
I haven't played it again. I've only played it the one time, and I'm pretty sure I convinced them to come. So
I did too. Yeah, that was the one time.
Yep.
I mean, I definitely play it again, but my father-in-law hasn't. And I don't know if he's even playing it anymore. So
I should play
there's
it on.
that.
I should play it on PS4s and get more trophies.
Still on the trophy
Yeah.
hunt.
I don't know what it is about it, but like sometimes I'll just like get a bug up my ass. It's like, okay.
Speaking of PS4, I turned mine on last night. I was trying to play Rocket League with someone. They passed out or something.
Yeah.
Of
What?
course they did.
I managed to get a match in.
You don't have
That's
Rocket
good.
League on your
Score two
PS5? Okay, so these are obviously
I-
questions I was saying there. Like,
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't. Should I have it on my PS5? I mean, is there any difference
no.
to it?
Oh, it might run faster, better. I don't know.
I think it runs a little smoother, but
Okay.
that could
Like-
just be placebo
Like,
effect.
It
So-
does run pretty smooth.
So I
I see
wasn't
it too.
ever like sure about something like that. Like, I mean, granted, some of the games that were kind of released close to the PS5 launch probably have like a PS5 version that will obviously run great on it, but like stuff that was kind of launched kind of like during the middle part of the PS4's lifespan, I didn't think really warranted a
Well,
reason to have on my PS5.
I think everything runs and loads faster on the PS5, and then so like
loading times, if
for
nothing else.
instance, like the Cyberpunk PS5 version didn't come out till way later, till like just
Well,
last
I mean
year. But
that one was kind of a different story.
Right,
versus,
but the PS4, I bought the PS4 version obviously when it launched, and it ran like crap on a PS4, but I was able to play it fine on my PS5, and that's just the PS4 version. So like the PS5 can muscle games, so certain games that aren't running well on the PS4 will run better. Something like Rocket League runs is pretty well optimized, so I'm sure it runs. It might just load faster, but
yeah, to tag on to that, I tried playing Just Cause 3, and it still runs just as poorly as it does on the PS4. So it just depends on how well optimized the game is, like Ian said.
Okay.
Okay. That makes perfect sense.
But other than that, just playing my typical 2 mobile games, and I think I jumped into Fallout 4 just for a few minutes to do a quick quest and then make sure check out on my settlements, check out on my world building, and make sure my people are still there, still happy.
Wouldn't be a week in gaming without you going into Fallout, would it?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I'm like Fallout 4 is more like a game of me being a mayor of little towns.
It would be better if like it had a real calendar, so even when you were away, shit would. Then when you came back, it'd be like, shit's worse.
Well, I hadn't played the
game do that actually. That's a bad idea.
So it could like take on kind of like an Animal Crossing type thing where a bunch of weeds grow in some of these settlements, and and then maybe I'll have some like a small civil unrest or something because they've been neglected and they're ready to oust me.
I don't even want to get into what my Fallout 4 looks like.
Oh boy.
And then I also kind of chipped away some more God of War Ragnarok in case we ever do that episode. That probably will never happen.
I mean, I don't know.
At this point, luckily for us, there's New Game Plus, so it's a perfect opportunity to go back into the game.
I don't want to go back into that game. I'm done. I was done.
Right.
You're like Nietzsche. God is dead.
God is dead. No, I mean the game was great, better than the first, but I just wish it was the first one and I didn't have to play it again. I guess I like the story and the characters more than the first one. I guess. I don't know.
And I'm getting there. I'm back to playing. I'm getting there. I don't know how far away I am from the end, but
how far are you from it, Aaron?
Have you gotten a new weapon yet?
Oh, have you? Yeah, do you have the third weapon?
No.
No, you got
no.
a while.
Yeah, you got a while.
No, I have Freya as my ally now, so that's how far I've gotten.
You're a little past Nidhogg, isn't that the?
Yeah, that was the one boss, and then I think so, yeah. But then I got Freya as my friend finally, like actual like. You can now control her outside of like the main mission, like the one quest we actually get her initially because she's all pissy with you still about the whole you killed my son thing, and understandably so, but still, that's why she's now my ally. I can use her now versus Atreus, but I don't know when Atreus comes back. If he comes back, don't spoil it for me, but for now I still control Freya. Well,
someday you guys will finish it, I suppose.
Yep.
I mean, Aaron could catch up to Nick.
We could just do the review without them, I suppose. Call it a day.
I think I've played enough of it to really.
Same.
Nah, but we'd spoil it for you.
Yeah, we'd
review because
yeah.
Listen, I think I've already spoiled it for myself too. So.
Oh, you went on the YouTube and watched the end?
No, I didn't watch the end, but I mean, I know
We could turn the episode to two-parter.
So I'm anxiously awaiting to see when the turn happens.
The turn for.
Well, you can't say it because you'll spoil it for Aaron.
Yeah.
So here's my whole thing about spoiling things to me or anything. Honestly, yeah, if it's the ending, it's like, oh man. By the same token, am I still gonna play through or am I gonna watch it? Yes, because it's something I wanted to watch. Like, if someone told me the ending to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, for example, like I want to see that movie so bad, I'm still gonna see the movie. I don't care. Or if I want to play it, like, I get it though. I get the whole not want to do it because it's kind of a dick move type thing. But
I don't
it's
think
like
there's actually a really the turn the movie takes or the video game takes isn't really that.
Yeah.
Not that surprising.
Yeah, it's not like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was in my mind
just
thinking all these like grander things, and then it was like much less than that.
okay.
But
yeah, I mean,
as far as spoiling goes, I mean, I'm not too far off from Aaron. You can spoil something for me, and that's great. I mean, if you give me like just the basic premise of what the spoiler is, it's still not going to ruin it for me because I'm still going to be interested in seeing how they pull it off, like what builds up to it, and just kind of see how they do it.
What builds
So
up
I'm
to
going
it
to still
are
be interested.
A collection of obnoxious
in
boss
that.
battles.
Yep.
Oh, wow,
fun.
that sounds like the entire game.
I know. Boss battle. Oh, mini boss battle. Oh, hey, big boss. Okay.
Which is
boss
funny because
battle.
I loved Elden Ring, and those boss battles are crazy hard and obnoxious, but there's a joy in those. I don't know.
Oh, no,
It's funny. It's funny when you have a game that has like really deep battle mechanics, and then you get into that, and then a game that's just really just button combos. I just
right.
I'm not into that. But anyway,
right.
I wish there was like what was the game? There was a game that just had like just story mode, like just basically you
watch the movie.
You basically just kind of play through it, and it's like. Because I feel like if I'm a badass, I should just kill them with one. I just want to kill one hit and they're dead. I'd be okay with that. It doesn't take people say, "Oh, that ruins." It doesn't ruin the game for me. Nah.
So it's funny because I used to think that way for a long time. Like, no, I could do that, but I had to switch to the God with the Ragnarok just pretty much story mode just to get farther ahead. I'm like, you know what? This actually doesn't do it for me. Okay, I can keep going with this. I don't have a problem with this at all. I kind of opened my eyes to being a badass, just going hack dead, instead of having to, oh god damn it, you stupid fucking boss! Why the fuck are you having such issues?
Hit R3.
So I totally get that.
Cool. Are you playing anything else, Aaron, besides God of War now, or are you just not playing? Just nothing much.
Well, I mean, I think it's time for our mobile minute.
Wait! I didn't get to talk about what I got.
What
to play.
a transition!
I didn't get to talk about what I played. Wait a minute.
Okay, we could. Sorry.
I was just making sure you had played. I did see you had played some God of War this past week. I think I swore I saw you on.
I did. That's when I found Freya as my ally.
Gotcha. I actually went back into. Oh, do you have something else, Nick?
No, I was just gonna say I completely forgot to play. Go back into Diablo 4 this weekend.
Oh.
I wanted to, but
really?
I just because they did their server slam this weekend. I saw someone else posted about it, and I thought it would have been kind of fun to kind of jump back into that. But I saw I would have to recreate a character. I was kind of hoping that
they wiped the
my
servers.
Character would just and I figured they would have done that too, but I didn't have time.
I thought for a hot minute about doing that, and then I was like, no. I spent 25 hours in that. Like, I don't need to ever play that again.
But I was going to ask if anybody else did that at all.
I don't know.
Nah, totally forgot that was this weekend.
Yeah. Or did anybody else possibly get a new Switch game at all?
Fuck no.
Oh,
no
way. Are you talking about Zelda?
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't have Ryan have a guest pop in for that.
Jared's going to play that game because they have breakable weapons still, and he said that was a deal breaker for him.
I don't think he's gonna play it, honestly.
He'll
I
play
think
it.
he
personally,
will.
No,
'cause-
he'll play it at some point. But it's like, I mean, $70 for that again? I don't know. And I
Wii U
hear it
game?
runs. I mean, reading that article, runs like shit.
that's-
Yeah, people are already trying to run the emulators for it.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure Jared will try it at some point, but he'll probably wait for it to go a little bit
Because they have
down
a
in price.
building. Apparently, you
that's
can
not gonna
build like
happen.
automobiles.
Yeah,
or,
you can
not
build
automobiles,
cars and
but-
weapons,
So
and it's
I
like
know
this
he'll be
weird.
build all
super into
sorts.
that.
It's like this weird crafting mechanic. Yeah.
I heard that's what I've heard too. And they're
The
talking
Link
about that on
Mobile.
Instagram about it.
Didn't it someone else? Because maybe it was you.
Because
talked
that's never
about
been
it,
done in
Will,
video
yeah.
games. So Nintendo's being praised for something they're the only ones to ever think about doing this ever.
Exactly. You
But
mean
is
no
the
one
Wii
else
U
done it
that
before
much-
yet? God,
Is-
man.
What,
Is
John?
the
Fine-
Switch
fine
that
if
much
everyone else
stronger
is.
than a Wii U? Or are they pretty much the
barely.
same?
I think it's barely. I mean, it's. I think it's a little bit stronger, but
much,
honestly, I don't know.
That article that I posted kind of alluded to the Switch even being kind of underpowered when it first came out.
Oh yeah. Well, all their shit's underpowered. It's like a fucking. It's basically a handheld PS3.
Pretty much.
Damn.
It pretty much is. I mean, when you think about it, half the games on it, you see, I'm like, God, I could buy that for like $2 on the PlayStation Network for whatever game it is, and it's 50, 60 fucking dollars full price on the Switch Network.
Yeah, and so now this new one's $70. That's kind of crazy. So
Ugh.
I'm sure Jared will play it at some
Gross.
point, and we'll hear about it. I know,
Well, I was kinda
Jason's not
curious
on.
about.
Jason's not on anymore, but he's been playing it.
And what about
Mhm.
Ryan Chase?
Ryan's not playing.
Oh,
Ryan,
yeah,
Ryan
he
didn't like
had-
he bought it for his son. So
Oh yeah, that's right.
Jason or Ryan didn't like the first one. He thought it was really boring. So I don't know if he'll even touch the second one.
I can understand his feeling.
If you
It's
look at
actually not a wedding
the
gift.
picture that he posted, Nick, it shows the game, but in the background, his son is sitting there on the couch playing the Switch.
Yeah, but
So I mean, I think that's why he got it.
okay.
He's
I
mostly exclusive to that on that Star Wars game right now.
thought- okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Did mention that.
that is fair.
I mean, he might try. I mean, he'll try it. He tries everything. He plays everything, but I can't imagine he'll like it. He didn't like the first one, so. Anyway, I've been
Right.
playing. I'm playing the DLC for Ghost of Tsushima, and my god,
Ooh.
that game is fucking awesome. Still, not only that,
Nice.
but I bought the PS4 version, and then the director's cut and the PS5 version is on the PlayStation Plus Extra. So I didn't have, so I downloaded that just to play it, the DLC, because I never touched
Is
it.
that a game I should get on the PS5 instead of the PS4?
Yes, 100%. That is a fucking
Okay.
beautiful, awesome.
I mean,
game.
I already
Yeah.
have it for the PS4, but should I do like the upgrade?
Upgrade. I mean, actually,
it-
the PS4 version actually looks pretty fucking awesome on the running on the PS5.
Yep.
That does load better and run better too. But it's a pretty fucking awesome game. So it's up to you.
Okay.
I mean, if you already have it, I would just play it. It's a solid game.
Ian, as a director, how does director's cut translate to video games?
I don't know. I think it's just because they made it a very cinematic game, and it has the Kurosawa mode, so it has this like samurai. So I played the whole story mode in the Kurosawa mode. So I think from a filmmaker standpoint, I think using director's cut was just kind of a cutesy
More of a
thing.
advertising.
Well, it
It's
adds the DLC with it, so it's the whole the full game basically. Because like you don't necessarily. Because I don't think they like added anything like to make it like, oh, this was an extended shot or anything like that. I think they just here's the whole game now with the DLC, and they just call it that's as if it was like a scene that got cut out of the. Because so I don't know. It's just kind of a cutesy thing, I think. Because they didn't like name the DLC anything particularly. It was just like an extended version of the game.
It's just he goes to an island, right?
Right.
okay.
The sucky part of that though is if you do play it with that DLC, if you go to the island, then you're locked out of the main part of the game. So I recommend not going to that part until at the very end, because then you're like there.
You have to finish the DLC before you can go back.
Go back, yeah.
Yeah, Fallout was kind of fucking Fallout. Anyway,
You just can't help yourself.
You can't help it.
Hmm.
All right. Any more games? Any more beats? Then it is indeed
Not
time
for me.
for Aaron's Mobile Minute.
Nah.
well, apparently not because
Well,
Nope.
what's up?
It's not time for Aaron's
My mobile minute.
Sorry, I can't go
Yes.
high enough to give it a proper intro.
we could go
Yeah,
lower with
okay.
it and be a little bit more manlier and maybe a little bit more metal, like here is Mobile Minute. Or not.
I don't like
That
it.
works too.
No, it's pretty
At this rate, we'll spend more than a minute on the
Mm.
intro. So should we get this?
Mhm.
Who's,
Aaron's
doing the
Mobile
timer?
Minute. All right. So,
All
who
right.
has a timer? Who has a phone?
Oh, we're all organized, aren't we?
I got one.
No, Jared. Where's Jared? Has one job and he can't show up to do it.
All right.
Oh,
Alright.
can you even?
Okay.
Well, you just tell us when it's over. We'll believe you.
Yes.
Just you know what, Nick? When
Yo. Sorry, it's like my screen's too bright.
You don't have a dark mode on that?
I
just
do.
when it's time to start, just do this.
Oh yeah, when it's time to end.
Yeah.
Do it twice though.
All
I
right.
forgot how to do that actually. Where's that?
On the screen,
Well,
there's
see,
little
you
music.
guys, oh,
You have to exit full screen. There you go. All right.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
All right.
Thanks, audience.
there we go.
There
You
you
ready?
go.
Oh,
All right.
that's obnoxious.
Hey.
All right.
All right. 3, 2,
2,
1.
1.
Name.
Questland.
Single.
Yes.
Multiplayer.
No.
Genre.
Action.
Advertising or word of mouth.
Advertising.
Like the music.
Yes.
Like the graphics.
No.
Controller compatible.
No.
Time played.
About 45 minutes.
Will you keep playing?
No.
Recommend.
Yes to Jared, actually.
Have a story.
Yes.
Do you like the story?
Not really.
Developer.
Gamester.
Available on console.
No.
Cost.
Free.
Okay.
Okay. That's pretty
That
good.
was 15 questions.
15.
What?
Nice.
15. And that's been Aaron's Mobile Minute.
Bum, 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 bum.
Can't wait to never do that again.
Well, when Jared comes back, he can tackle it.
No, I meant more the sound effect thing.
Oh my God.
Gladly run it.
That was the most exciting part.
We should check in with the Lord Beerstro now. How is he doing on his Waldo? You started the second one yet?
Oh my God, this
Which
is.
one?
Oh yes, I have. I'm almost finished with
He's
the
having
second one.
two
You're
Waldos
almost
right
finished
now.
with the second one.
Yes.
was there-
and-
Was there a difference in color between the outdated and the indated?
I honestly didn't pay attention to that.
You'll have
Shame
to watch. You'll
on
have to
me.
watch the episode where we drink them both on the couch
Yeah.
co-op.
Yeah, a little promotion for a little side project. But there's they definitely taste like two different beers. That's for sure.
Oh, interesting.
That's what
Mhm.
they taste. I mean, I was
Oh,
drunk as
right.
fuck last night, but they definitely tasted like two different beers.
I'm not surprised. I mean, different hops, different seasonings each year. I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, it was all. I mean, it's like whatever malts that they used is basically what kind of survived over the 2 year period. Like it didn't really taste a whole lot of hop. And it didn't seem like there was as much of an alcoholic bite as and even just like this just weirdly tasted fresher as well. The current Waldo. Um,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's
Serious?
definitely interesting.
You're saying
What's
the
that?
older one tasted fresher?
No, I said
No,
the newer one
the newer.
tasted
Oh,
fresher
right.
because it is fresher, but
Right.
um,
So
it's
the old one just doesn't have as much hop profile as the new one.
not as much hop profile, not as much of kind of like that alcoholic bite either. I mean, I've kind of noticed that with like other beers that have aged for like a year or so that the alcohol bite just kind of subsides a little bit. I mean, it's still there, but because they're usually higher alcohol.
But isn't that the whole
Yeah.
point of the
it-
IPA? For its travels, it was supposed to maintain its. Like they make it really hoppy, and then as it
yeah.
travels, it gets
Mhm.
lesser.
Yep.
Mm.
That's
But
correct.
they were using the hops as a preservative, not as a flavor. So
Yes.
that's part of it. They were using the alcohol and the hops as preservatives as opposed to
Yeah,
necessarily
not
flavor ingredients.
Then I have a question. Another
Yeah.
question on top of that. Is there then any beers that like do the thing where they will hop it really high, and then they want you to age it? Are there any of those beers?
Yeah, your favorite Dogfish Head 120-minute IPA.
Yes.
They want you to sit on that for how long?
They say for up to 5 years.
So you
Yep.
shouldn't drink it when you buy it.
No,
You don't
I
have
mean you
to,
can.
technically.
I like drinking them fresh too. I mean they're good in a different way when you
Well,
drink them fresh.
Wait, hold on. They
But
tell when you buy the beer, you hold onto it for 5 years.
they say
Yep.
you can age
so
it for up to 5 years. And actually,
Oh, okay.
and they don't. I don't think they do this anymore. But Deschutes with some of their like the Mirror and the
they did
um
this. Yes, I remember this.
so I think Aaron already knows what I'm going to say. They didn't have a drink
Mhm.
before date, they had a drink after date. So they
Yes,
were kind of
exactly.
promoting the idea of holding on to
Preserving
it
it.
and drinking it after some certain date. And it usually seemed like it was like a few months out after you bought it, like maybe 6 to 9 months.
What?
Yeah.
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 I remember sitting on one beer they made. It was called the God, I can't remember. It had a bunch of birds on it. It was their
Oh,
Asian.
I think I think it was a bit of a sour, was it?
I think so. I can't remember the name of the beer, but
Dissident? Was it Dissident?
isn't yes, bingo. Thank
Yeah.
you. You could sit on it for quite a while, and it actually got better over time. I remember having it after sitting on it for like 2 years, and it tastes like a cherry fucking pie. It was so good. But there was also a beer for a while, Vertical Epic, Epic, but Stone Brewery did this thing. It was the Vertical Epic series. You buy like 1 1 0 1 2 2 0 2 3 3 0 3, etc. etc. And on 12 12 12, you had to drink. You could drink all of them at once, and they had different flavor profiles for each year they released them. It was the only one I ever heard that like it was like you could drink it 12 years afterwards. 'Cause I think Jason did that when he had those beers, and he got all kind of fucked up, is what I heard. But he did it all in one night, so I don't do it for
Mm.
you.
Trying to cram 12 years of beer into one night. Nice.
Well, he shared it with like other people, but it was just still
Mm.
that's like 4 ounce cup for 12 beers. That's still quite a bit of beer for one person to handle,
Yeah.
especially if it gets stronger over time.
Mm.
Yikes.
Cool.
But anyway,
Well, Lord, do you want to we can just do it now if you want to just sum up which one you think is better and vote.
I'm going with the current version as the winner tonight. Yeah, no, you're shocked.
Shocking.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool.
But I mean, it's not to say that the other one was bad, but it. Yeah, I think I alluded to it earlier that I think these,
Oh.
and Aaron kind of backed me up. These they can age, but these definitely I think are better consumed fresh.
Cool.
Mhm.
All right.
I agree.
And that's Lord Beerstro's beer battle. Hiya!
Ding ding.
We need like a shots fired cannon sound.
I don't think we have that.
I know.
Get on that.
Get on it. I
Get on
know.
that Discord.
Yeah, get on.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
need more than 6 sounds.
So I thought we'd just have some fun tonight on the main topic and just, because I don't know what made me think of this, but I was just like, 2D games. We don't talk about them much anymore because they're like a thing of the past, but they do make a lot of them still.
Mm.
So whether they're old or new, what are our favorite 2D video games? Who would like to go first?
I can go first.
All right.
So I thinking about this topic, I was like, man, I remember we played a lot of 2D games, obviously back in the 90s, and then when the PlayStation 1 came along, everything suddenly went to 3D, even though now it looks like shit. But everyone was like, oh, 2D's so kind of, there's that period in the late 90s, early 2000s where it was like 2D's so passe, everything has to be 3D, and then it kind of came back. So
Right.
most of my games, I haven't played that many modern 2D games. That I know people like some games, and I won't name names just because I don't want
They're
to
not
take any
here.
from someone's games off people's lists. But I think I would go back to the first game for me that I really enjoyed was the Simpsons arcade game, the arcade beat 'em up.
Oh,
Ooh.
nice.
Just because
about
I
that
remember
game.
playing that, and I played it again recently. I went to the coast and I took my little Raspberry Pi, emulator, and I played it again. I'd forgotten just how like big and detailed the sprites are on that, and how like it just looks good. It still looks like a good game. It's a very simple game, but it's still, and it's got those difficulty curves that it has, but it's still very playable even today as a like modern. I played it with my nephew, and he's like 8, and he was enjoying it. I think he got a little bit bored after one or two stages, but it's just I'd forgotten how beautiful that game is and how good the graphics are and how big the graphics are. So that was my first one on my top 3 in no particular order.
Nice.
So if I just may ask a question. So would like a Simpsons or a Turtles arcade, is that still considered a 2D platformer? Or just a
It's a
2D
brawler. It's a
game?
2D brawler, like Double
Yeah.
Dragon or the X-Men.
Well,
games.
I'm just thinking
You are
because
right because it does have
It does have
because
it does have a bit of a
move up
plane,
and down.
but they're still pretty. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I suppose.
I
And
mean,
from that
I'm not
standpoint,
trying to argue. It's
He's
just I
arguing.
was kind of.
He's arguing.
I'm not actually. It's just it also kind of like it might affect some games that I used to love playing.
I guess you're not really. Yeah, I mean, I guess there is the plane, but it's not like you're in a real 3D world. Like it's not.
Right.
yeah, it's a single camera
You could
angle.
argue that maybe it's 2.5D.
Yeah,
guess.
I would say
Right.
like Unjamalami and Parappa the Rapper, kind of like those are 2D games in 3D, kind of. So those wouldn't count because even though the graphic style is 2D, they use the 3D camera to like make it look more like paper cutouts. But anyway, by the by.
I'm not criticizing those.
I also feel like the thing about that, while it feels like it's going in a plane, really what your character is doing is moving up the screen. It's not really going because the level is kind of angled, so your character is technically going up. He's not going true, like a true, back and forth.
Right.
He's not going into the background.
Right.
Yeah, they don't get smaller as they go up or
They just-
bigger as they come forward.
Yeah,
they just
they're
kind
just
of
kind
like
of traveling up and down. So
Come
I
out,
think that you're
yeah.
cheating the perspective because it's a 2D game. So I think that
Yeah,
would be
okay.
my argument in favor of.
Works for me.
Let's go backwards. Let's go
Hey.
counterclockwise since Dave is in the middle. We'll go Nick next.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go with the. Gosh, I'm trying to decide which version I want. I want either Turtles in Time. This is why I asked the question. Um, or just so on the NES, they also kind of had a version of the first Turtles arcade game. I'm trying to.
Oh, just Ninja Turtles the arcade game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Because they
yeah,
had they had the other Turtles game before that, didn't they? Or around the same time.
yeah,
The,
that
the
was like,
superior one. And then they had Manhattan Project.
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
remember
which,
Manhattan Project. That was on the SNES, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on Nintendo.
Or
Well, it might have been on both, but I have it
yeah,
for Nintendo.
yeah.
it was on Nintendo, but I don't know. That one didn't seem as fun.
It looked better though than the arcade version. It was like way cleaner.
It was,
And it had this
but
dope
I don't know.
I think there's a code you could enter and then you could go into like the music. You could fuck around with the music. Anyway, sorry.
So I think I'm just gonna go with Turtles in Time on the Super Nintendo because that was just a lot of fun. It looked closely enough to the actual arcade version, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, I can't remember. I even had it on an emulator at some point and was just having a lot of fun playing that by myself. But it was more fun
Oh yeah.
back in the day when we'd actually a friend of mine, we didn't actually have a Super Nintendo, so we were always like renting it from a video rental place, spending the night at each other's place, and we'd like stay up all night and just kind of just
Hmm.
grind through it. And it was something that we did on more than one occasion. So
Yeah,
even on some
I
level,
have
it's
fond
still
memories of playing that game.
it's
Yeah.
it's also a
Oh
bit of a
yeah.
nostalgia trip.
100%.
It's funny. Essentially, The Simpsons and Turtles are the same game, aren't they? They're just graphic swapped.
That's
The
that's
X-Men, the
Actually,
kind of why I
Avengers
brought it up
Yeah,
game.
the
too.
X-Men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah, I remember the Avengers game. That was so much fun.
Cool. JPK. Calling JPK.
I picked.
He's looking he's
Uh,
googling right now.
yeah, I'm googling
Hmm.
right now. No, I picked Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis. I played it recently
Mm.
when I was visiting my parents, and you know what's funny? Because I think my dad got a pirated version, which is hilarious because he's not really that type of guy. But playing the game is weird in terms of, so in the game at some point in time you get a book that you have to use at different points of the game to use as like a code breaker essentially in a way.
Uh,
But the problem is all the text on the pages overlap each other. If so, as soon as you start turning the first page, the text from the first page gets laid over by the text on the second page, and so on and so forth. And
oh
so, and
boy.
then I was trying to figure out like why is it doing that? And then the site that he got it from, someone was thinking like, "Oh, this is a pirated game and they're charging for it. Like these people suck." So that's why I thought it was hilarious because my dad is kind of very careful of what he downloads. So I just thought it was kind of funny. Like, oh, he unknowingly bought more than likely a pirated game. But but Indiana Jones is just a classic point and click adventure done by LucasArts. Uh, where you just kind of, and the game is relatively short, which is kind of crazy. I just remember that game used to take me like days to play, and like you could probably beat the game in one sitting. It's not. I mean, it would be kind of long, but it's probably like more or less like a maybe a 6 to 8 hour game. But it's fun. It's nostalgic. The voice acting is fun to listen to because it's kind of on the cusp of when voice acting in video games was kind of start to improve, but it's still kind of hit and miss with certain characters in the game, which adds to its charm.
Cool. Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a little bit of nostalgia with that too. I had a friend that was really into
Ah,
both that and Last Crusade, and it was just kind of fun, just kind of like watching over the shoulder and just trying to help out too. I mean, I didn't actually, I bought the game, but I never actually got to really play
Hmm.
it. But
It's on Steam, so
is it?
yeah, it's on Steam.
hmm.
There you go.
Okay. I'll
Cool.
rush to Steam.
I've never played it. All right, Aaron, what do you got? Number 3.
Well, so I kind of had a hard time with my numbers because I played a lot of those type of games. But I'm gonna say my number 3. I had a lot of fun doing this one. It was actually the Spider-Man Separation Anxiety for the Super Nintendo. That game sucked up a lot of time. I was in I always love playing with people because you got to play it one person or two, and I always wanted to be Venom because you could be Venom or Spider-Man because you had to take out the other symbiotes that Venom spawned and stuff like that. Then you fight Carnage at the end, but Venom was always like my favorite one to play as. I never wanted to play as Spider-Man. Spider-Man was great in the game, but Venom was the better one.
He looked
They
cooler.
just took more time. Yes, you did. All black outfit, but it was just a lot more stronger too. It was like for some reason they made Spider-Man like he was Spider-Man strong, but for some reason Venom was just like more although they did kind of substitute it for speed, but he was a lot more powerful than Spider-Man. So it was like perfect for me because sometimes I just want to play by myself and I didn't want to have too much difficulty, so I just chose Venom. But it was such a fun game to play on Super Nintendo. I've definitely missed out on a lot of homework because of that game back in the 90s. And I've been late to several practices because I was also in baseball back in the day for that sort of thing. I didn't miss it, but I was late. And that game caused me a lot more trouble than it was worth, but it was worth it.
Cool.
So that's definitely the number 3.
Sweet. My number 3 is Dragon's Crown, and is basically a brawler, but also /RPG, and has some very sexy characters, classic Ian traits that you need in a video game. And I have it on PS3 and PS4. I've bought it a couple times because when I like a game, for some reason I'll buy it multiple times. It does have 4-player co-op, which is cool. But I think we played it one time, a game night way back in the day. Yeah, you get to you loot weapons and you upgrade your stuff, and you just basically like any like X-Men or like it's that kind of game with just this added mechanics on it. So anyway, super cool game. Play it if you haven't. I feel like we have played it all, except maybe not Nick. I swear we played it at a game night once.
Yes, you did. It was fun, and
it's the witch with the big bazoongas, as you call them. As that's a scientific term.
I've heard this. This is true. I can't deny it. So, but I'm not done.
The art's really cool, though. I think the art's super cool. Anyway, yeah. So, Dave, number 2.
Oh, my number 2. I was gonna go with Worms, like the classic.
Oh, nice.
Classic
That's a good one,
game. I remember playing that in high school when it first came out. I think it was 1995 on my Commodore Amiga, and just how much fun it was. And I think I played Armageddon recently, and it was still pretty good fun. But it's funny, I've never really played it together as a group, but I have, like, my friends back in England, we used to play it religiously at high school, and you could use the art program to draw things and make your own levels. So, or you could take pre-existing pictures and make them into a level. So we used to do that all the time, and it's just such a fun, simple game. And like that, I always enjoyed the exploding sheep and the holy hand grenade and some of the weapons they had in that game are just pretty fun. So. And it's amazing what they do with such small sprites, because the worms themselves probably only like 8 pixels by 8 pixels in the original. They're not very big, but they have so much character. Kind of like Lemmings. There's another game that has very small sprites with but they seem to convey.
What is a Worms? I've never played a Worms game. What is that?
Do you remember like tanks or the games where you'd have two tanks, one either side of the screen, and you choose an elevation and you choose a power, and you're like shoot a bullet at the other one.
Artillery.
It's artillery. So it's basically a version
Or
of that.
Scorched Earth.
Tanks is the
Scorched Earth.
actual tanks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I had a version called Tanks that
Oh, did
was
you?
like, yeah, with spelled with an X, that was like artillery.
Oh,
But
I know what game he's talking about.
but yeah, so it's like that, except you have a team of 4 worms and they've got 100 health each, and they get spread around this map. And then you have like, instead of just having artillery, you've got like hand grenades. If the if there's somewhere you get like 30 seconds, you can change. There's a lot of options you can change, but you can move them around the map and jump across. So if if it puts you right next to your opponent, one of the weapons you have is a baseball bat, so you can just smack them, and it'll smack them off the edge into the water, and they die.
Nice.
You know, so you can kind of there's many imaginative ways to kill them. You know,
gotcha.
kill your opponents.
Nice.
But it's also kind of not super easy, but it's very possible to kill your own guys as well if you screw it up.
Gotcha.
So you used to have gentleman's rules where, because you take turns doing it, it's like you can't just press the space button to make the next guy like drop the grenade next to them. You know, so
Gotcha.
but it's a lot of fun. So
Don't they still make those games?
I believe they do. I don't know when the last one they made. They tried to make a 3D one again, late 90s, when everything was going to 3D. I don't think it really worked. And then I know they had one on the PlayStation 4. I want to say that I played relatively recently, but you know,
Can't go home again.
yep.
Nick to win. What's your number 2?
All my stuff is going to be pretty basic, which I apologize
Basic.
for in advance.
I mean, Worms.
Well, it's
Worms
just
pretty
stuff
basic,
that
right?
everybody. No, well, I don't mean it like that. I mean just more like
Run of the
stuff
mill,
that
like super. You're
everybody
you're going like Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I just can't decide between 3 or World.
Duck Hunt.
Because no, that's my number 1.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it.
Those are both two very solid choices, though.
I mean, Super Mario Brothers 2
Well,
is
yeah, I mean,
clearly the
there's
winner. Superior game.
Super Mario Brothers 2.
This is clearly the superior game.
I mean, I had a lot of fun with just like a lot of that franchise, like back in the day. But I'm gonna give the nod to Super Mario Brothers 3 because I feel like I played that one a lot as a kid. I kind of focused and spent some time like not necessarily doing speed runs per se, but just more just like seeing how long it would take me to actually beat the game from start to finish, which I kind of mapped out at around like 3.5, 4 hours. But I just spent a lot of time on that game as a kid, so there's like a huge nostalgia factor with me.
Right.
So I mean, if I'm spending that much time on a game, or if I spent that much time on a game, it's got to be at least one of the favorites.
It's got to be.
even if it is as much of a mega popular hit with the masses, instead of actually expanding my horizons and finding a little lesser known title. Because that didn't happen until later.
You don't have to find the lesser known titles. I mean, that's like a classic. That's like
It is, but I don't know. Maybe it's like it's a pick that I know is correct, but maybe I'm not in love with it, if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
I don't know.
It's a great pick. I mean, it's like arguably the most defining game of his franchise. Really, I mean,
yeah.
You could argue 64 or World, but
right.
But I think
well, that's kind of more
I think Super Mario Brothers 3 is like pretty much everything that they make into 3D. Right, but I mean anything that they make, that game is pretty much the template that they use to design all the other games, basically. I feel like.
And I wasn't sure if like the map portion of it would be like a sticking point in terms of
no, because the map's
2D
still
or not.
The map's still 2D.
Yeah, it's not really actually. Oh yeah.
Again, you're just going up and down, left and right.
Yeah. Thinking a little too hard about it.
You are thinking too hard about it, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, JPK, what do you got number 2?
Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers. So it's another point-and-click adventure game where you play a writer, a would-be writer in New Orleans, who kind of gets caught up in a conspiracy involving voodoo, murder, and his family legacy. And it had a crazy all-star cast. Mark Hamill is in it. And then who played the original clown from It?
All-Star Wars? Oh, Tim Curry.
Tim
Curry. Tim Curry voices. So Tim Curry does an hilarious accent. He's a British guy doing a New Orleans Creole accent, and it's awesome. Like, so it's fun just to listen to him talk. But it's a fun game. It's a great detective type game. And it's fun to it's just weird to see those. I feel like there were certain games in the 90s where all of a sudden they just had this crazy movie studio cast, and it's just like, how did this even happen? Like, why did all these actors come out to be in this one game?
Because they need to make a living.
Like Fallout,
they're
Fallout
starving.
2.
They're probably starving. I mean, Tim Curry and Mark Hamill at that point, what is this, late?
But this is in the early 90s. Like, Tim Curry's career was going great.
No.
I think Mark Hamill was starting to make
Mark Hamill was in every video game known to man.
I mean, Mark Hamill becomes a voice actor.
Tim Curry was riding high off his Home Alone 2 appearance.
And, surfing off the Hunt for Red October. I mean, he was just kind of a character actor, so I don't think he really is that big. I mean, he's a struggling actor trying to, like certain actors, they're just trying to make so you do some voice acting. And Mark Hamill, like Dave was saying, Mark Hamill shifted into voice acting. So that's basically where he just lives, so.
Yeah, because he was in Wing Commander, wasn't he? All those games.
Wing Commander.
Wing Commander.
Yep. And he's in the new one if it ever comes out. Star Citizen. This is by the developers of Wing Commander.
Yeah. Yeah, when that finally
never
is birthed.
When that $1 trillion game that's never coming out. Anyway, sorry. But I think, yes, Tim Curry was doing a lot of work, but I don't think he was, he wasn't really leading anything.
He was a working actor.
He was a working actor, so.
Right.
It's probably a decent paycheck for just sitting in a booth and recording some lines. It's like that's
the other thing.
Yeah, for a day's work. Yeah.
I sometimes wonder where did they get the budget to get, even if they weren't big during that time.
I think you're thinking
names.
But I think they're still names, but I think I don't know. Is that a LucasArts game? Who developed that?
I don't think it was LucasArts.
So it's okay. I don't know who it is. I imagine that. I don't think that they're that named, but because what is Tim Curry's biggest role really? Ultimately, is what, Rocky Horror or something?
I think so.
Most well known. I don't know about biggest role.
I think that's probably his biggest role, right? His most is the character that he's most well known for.
Yeah, Rocky
right.
Horror.
Yeah, you search him and it's basically Rocky Horror, It, Home Alone.
Oh man, Legend. That was awesome.
The Legend.
Clue movie.
Oh, Clue. Clue. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I always think about the scene in Hunt for Red October when Sean Connery takes the second nuclear warhead key and. He's using the doctor as the witness. He's like, "You're seeing me take the key," but then Tim Curry's line is something about "But the reason there's two keys is that so no one man can arm the warheads." I don't know. It's just kind of funny to me. It's such a
his line was just to explain it to the dummies in the audience.
Yeah. It's just we know, but we know what's going on. It's
Tim Curry as exposition.
It's just funny to me.
Exposition man.
Right.
By the way, I've never seen that movie, so should I see it?
Hunt for Red October?
Yes.
Holy shit,
Yes.
yes. Oh,
It's
yeah.
way better than Air Force One.
Oh, fucking, that's not even a competition. The only
Yeah.
two sub movies I argue about, like, you can, like I think Crimson Tide's a really good movie, too. I like Crimson Tide a fucking lot. I love sub movies. But
Really?
oh, I love submarine. Like
There
Das
was another
Boot.
movie that came out.
Yeah, Das
Was-
Boot is
Das
great.
Boot's great.
What about
Was-
the Widowmaker?
was there-
K-19. That's the Bigelow
Yeah.
one, right? That's pretty good.
Yeah,
There's
that was
there was a
pretty
one
good.
You
recently,
like that
but
movie? Wow.
I like.
Have you
I
watched
like-
that French one with the guy with the sonar operator on the submarine? That one's a really good submarine movie too.
There's
Isn't the one that came out around the year 2000?
There's U-571. Isn't that the McConaughey one? There's Widowmaker, the McConaughey one.
Maybe.
Now I'm mixing them up. Anyway, I like submarine movies.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Well, if you got Ian, you should put the Wolf's Call on your list
Wolf's-
because that was
All right,
yeah,
I'll check
that
it
was
out.
a really good one.
All right. That was Gabriel Knight. Sins of Our Fathers?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Aaron, number 2.
All right, I got to make this quick because I think I hear the little one going. But my number 2 and number 1, these both got me into gaming a lot more than I do now. But it's got to be Sonic the Hedgehog for the Game Gear / Genesis. Such a good game itself. And I
choice.
love
Is
the
there a
series.
difference? I never played the Game Gear version.
Yeah, the Game Gear version's a lot less. It's not quite as fast, and the sprites are smaller, and it's not quite as colorful.
But
Well, it
are
did
like
say-
all the levels and music? Well, maybe not necessarily
Very,
music, but all
it's
the
very
levels.
similar, but it's not.
Okay.
It
No.
did. All I knew, yeah, it did save me from a lot of road trips with the family. Until all 6 AA batteries killed it. That thing was such a beast of batteries, as we all know. Well, most people know. Not everybody does. But anyway, that's the number 2, and the number 1 is the Super Nintendo Mario Brothers, the first one. That one got me into gaming, and that one still has a place right here in this black hole of a heart
Okay.
area.
Well, it looks like you're pointing to Jesus, but no, wait, that's Thor.
Wait, we're talking about the
Or
OG,
the-
OG Super Nintendo? I mean, OG Nintendo?
Mhm.
Actually, no. I'm gonna say it's probably actually the Super Mario World, because I spent
right.
way more time on that
World.
game
Yoshi
than
and shit.
Yeah.
number 1.
Yoshi. I played
We
that.
got to-
I
we
never
got-
had that, but I played a lot of that at Fred Meyer's. Just,
Mhm.
Mom
In
would
the
go
little
grocery
waiting
shopping,
area?
and then brother and I would just go into the electronics center and just play Super Mario World.
Actually,
I
you
played
also
it there,
reminded
I played
me.
at a friend's house. I played at home. Such a good.
What were we gonna say, Nick?
Such a good.
Oh, sorry, I didn't want to step on Aaron's thing, but he
Okay.
just reminded me of something when he was talking about grocery stores. So when it comes back, I'll point it out.
Oh, the standy thing where you can play at the little entrance where it's like this giant, like, well, not giant, but a good sized TV and
Yeah.
the little thing in the console, and you just kind of wait in line for someone to go. And that's what I did
Yeah.
a lot of the times. I don't want to go grocery shopping. There was this shiny thing I could play with. They had different games. I remember playing Hydro Thunder, that one on there. Yeah, a lot of
So
those
I was
games
gonna
that-
say you reminded me of the Player's Choice Machine, which is
Oh.
where I first
Yes.
actually played.
Oh.
So going back to my pick, it's like that's where I actually first started playing Super Mario Brothers 3. Was actually walking down in Milwaukee, down to where that Albertsons used to be, because there used to be a video rental place next door that had one of those, and I just
Yes.
pump in a bunch of quarters, and that was kind of my first experience with Super Mario. And they had like a whole list of other games too, but
Yes.
it was Choice Machine. So sorry, Aaron, I didn't mean to step on you. I know you have to run too. So.
Yeah, that's all good, man. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I should probably get on that before she decides to have a thermonuclear meltdown, which she has done, and it's not fun. So,
Well, thanks.
All right,
Just
for,
do a
guys.
Sonic spin move into her.
I mean, you
Yeah.
held out for a long time this time, so thanks for
I did.
For
Yeah,
coming.
of course.
thanks for the new setup.
Yeah,
New
yeah.
setup's good.
Oh yeah, it's a lot better than the phone. I don't have to. I can actually sit at a comfier chair. That rocking chair is nice, but it hurts the butt. So,
Hmm.
all right, guys.
Take care.
You know,
Bye,
You
Aaron.
too.
Bye,
Bye,
Aaron.
guys. Night, guys. Night.
My number
and then
2.
there were 4.
My number 2 is I
Easy
wonder.
there, Agatha
I'm
Christie.
wonder. Well, I'm picking it at number 2 because the sequel's about to come out this year, which will also be 2D. But this goes back. I played it on the Genesis, a little game called Flashback. I love that game.
Oh
It's
yeah.
one of the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest cinematic video games of all time. I had it. I think I had it on my iPhone, my first gen iPhone, my OG iPhone. I don't even know if I can download it anymore. That's kind of sad. It might
I had
still
that.
be. It might still be on my old iPhone. I have to go check. But I've owned it on a lot of different things, and I've played it on a lot of
Did
different
you have
things.
it on the Super Nintendo as well?
Nope, I only had it on the Genesis, and it came with a comic book. Did it come with a comic book on the Super Nintendo version?
I don't know.
Oh.
I just know it came out for both, but
Mm.
I was just gonna ask you if one version was better than the other.
So I never had. My brother had the Genesis, and I don't even know where he got the game, and he was never really into it because it was kind of hard for him to get. He wasn't into it, so I played it. I just remember playing it and like just getting into it and then beating it, and just it was epic. It was a very epic moment because I hadn't really been playing much video games. The funny thing about Super Mario Brothers 3 for Nintendo, it's like that's kind of the time I just like lost interest in video games. Like I didn't really care for Super Mario Brothers 3. I mean, I get it; it's a great game and people love it, but like I just like it's just this, but I don't care. I don't want to do this. And I stopped playing video games. And then my brother was still into video games and he got a Genesis. It was actually Justin's Genesis. He bought Justin's Genesis because Justin needed money for whatever reason, like he always does. And so my brother bought his Genesis, and I think that's where he got the game Flashback because Justin had it, and then I beat it. But I wasn't. It was weird that I even got into it because I wasn't into video games then. I think just because I found the mechanics so deep, kind of, because the game asks you to do a lot more than you're normally doing in a video game, and then just how kind of the story is just actually, I thought, really engaging at a time where a lot of video games are either like movie tie-ins or like Mario Brothers. There's just not a lot of interesting story going on. So, and
You
the
kind of
music,
make a lot of the story up in your head.
yeah, and
with
then the
Mario Brothers.
music was pretty cool, and I guess I remember it being kind of cool. I don't know, and there were like these weird kind of cutscenes. I don't know. Anyway, I thought that was a great game. Flashback, and the sequel's coming out
No,
this year.
Yeah,
and I remember hearing
I need
about
to
that and
play that.
immediately thinking of. Sorry, Dave.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's like one of the first few times I actually met Ian. He was actually talking about that game, and I actually made like it probably sat in my Apple account, like on like the app for notes through various phones, and I think it might even be on my iPad. Actually, I want to check to see real quick, but I just remember him telling me about this game, and
I think I remember
think
playing it on my iPhone when you were at Jared's house for some reason. It might
yeah,
have been
and
at
I think the
Jared's
whole
fucking
reason
birthday party for all I know.
yeah, where we spanked him 30 or
Yes.
yeah, it was 30
Oh,
times.
the
Yeah.
debauchery.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, the old days.
Oh, yeah, here we go. From 2009.
There you go. Yeah, that's definitely it.
Yeah. Flashback Genesis. And so this is does Raptor make any sense to you at all? Was that
Raptor?
like RAPTR? Like
No.
is maybe like a bit of maybe an emulator of some kind, or
No.
maybe not.
That I do
I
not
don't know.
remember. That's a different note.
But yeah, I have this note, November 13th, 2009.
Sweet. There you go. All right, Dave.
So that
oh.
note has survived. So
Did you have?
No,
You had
that's
something
it.
you wanted to say, Dave, or did you need to say?
It's funny. I really enjoyed Another World, and I played a bit of Fade to Black, which was also by the same studio, and I enjoyed that game too. But I only played Flashback a little bit, and it never quite grabbed me. But I keep meaning to go back and actually try it because maybe it's just one of those things I just hit me at the wrong time or something.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I have another. We all got like as long as you have a PS Plus account, and you added it, we all got like another world. And I've played it a little bit, but it's like it was just like one of those. It just was a happenstance thing that I got into it. I feel like I do feel like the
Yeah.
game is hard to get into. Like at the beginning, I just wasn't sure I was kind of playing it, and then I just really sat down and got into it, and then I don't know. But yeah.
Yep.
All right, Dave, number 1.
My number 1 is the South Park Stick of Truth.
Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
boy.
That's the most fun 2D game I've played in a long
I didn't
time.
even consider that one.
And you know,
I didn't
it's
either.
it's so simple. Again, yeah, you could argue like Simpsons, it's 3D, but really you're just moving up and down the screen, and it just makes really good use of the graphics, and the writing is so good, and it's it's
And
everything. It's everything that made those old point and click adventures games kind of, fun, and the Final Fantasy-esque fighting mechanics fun, and all the rest of it. I just really enjoyed that game, and I started playing it again recently. I haven't got back on it, but it's just, it's just great. It's just great. They ask you what you want to call your character, and Cartman's just like douchebag. Do you want to be called douchebag? And whether you answer yes or no, he goes like yes, and you will forever be known as a douchebag or whatever it is.
Yeah. No, we all loved that game when we played it. I remember that was a big hit.
Yeah, and I just like what they do with the graphics. Like I like when you go to Canada and it all becomes like 8-bit
Even
Zelda.
more. Yeah.
yeah, that's one thing I liked about that game. It's like even if you're a fan of the TV show, it kind of threw back some older references to some of the
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
the
some
second
of the
one was good, but the first, like the first one, in my opinion, was better. But the second one's no slouch. What Fractured Butthole? Yeah,
Good title.
Oh, you said too fast.
Fractured Butthole.
yeah.
It's fractured but whole.
A fractured
There's a
butthole.
pause there.
Fractured
Yeah. No,
Butthole.
too
yeah
fast.
yeah
Too fast.
yeah.
Too fast.
Who's on first?
Too fast. Too fast. All right, Nick to win. What's your number 1?
I'm gonna go with Mega Man 2 or Rockman 2 for those of you outside
Nice.
the states.
Hardcore.
Yeah, well, that's just I always feel that was always the most fun version. Like Mega Man 1
It's the only one I
was
beat.
and that one is probably the toughest, but I also think that one's a little bit underrated too, because when everybody talks about Mega Man, it seems like 2 and 3 always get the most attention. Um, and it also felt like it's like they're still kind of like feeling out the franchise of like kind of what they want to do, and then once you actually start to play 3, they've kind of already got it figured out. They've already got like certain standards that are set, just like kind of like little nuances that kind of continue on with the series, but with like 1 and especially 2, um I don't know. There's just kind of a feeling out process. I mean, you've got some pretty killer music in there too. It's something that I spent a lot of time playing as well, renting and so on and so forth. I just think of all the Mega Man games or Rockman outside the states. That is probably kind of the pinnacle of that series.
That's a great game. Sometimes I forget about like those times, like because we used to rent video games all the time, and Mega Man 2 we used to rent all the time.
hmm And it just, I mean, the first just like the first 3 games itself, I mean, you could see the ideas are still kind of fresh in terms of like what kind of bosses are we going to have and what kind of powers are they going to have. But it seemed like once you kind of, I mean, I guess to be fair, Fireman and Heatman aren't all that different, but but you could kind of see later on in the series they were starting to kind of run out of ideas of like what kind of powers like the boss master is going to have, or they've kind of rehashed some ideas. But at least with like 2 1 and 2, it's like some of the ideas are still kind of fresh. um, and yeah, and like I said, they're still trying to figure out some little nuances with like the franchise. Like I think once they started with 3, if you when you go back and refight the same boss masters when they come down and like re-inhabit some other monster, whatever, if you use like the same weapon that they use on you, it's like you're always going to kill them in 7 shots. Whereas you go on Mega Man 2, sometimes he'll be invulnerable, or if you find Metal Man again and you just throw a single blade at him, you kill him instantly. So it's just little things like that.
Well,
That
I always
it seemed
liked the
like they
whole.
were still.
I always liked the whole idea that like a certain boss's weapon works better on another boss. You know,
No,
that
no, I
whole
like that too, but
that whole
it's like
concept of, but that the game's built around that concept is cool, and that, you know, then you move into like the current video games, and like Elden Ring is the same way. Certain bosses' weapons will work on another boss, but they're ineffective on another boss. So like that whole
right, and but
the depth of that idea, and then how it's been, you know,
but my
iterated
point
on.
was, but my point was, I noticed because I mean that's kind of been a standard throughout all the games,
Mhm.
like where you refight all the bosses, but the difference is instead of like having to like kind of pick a path to go, when you come around them the second time, you have all the powers, and you can use whatever they're throwing at you. You can throw like the same thing back at them, and at least in the first two, I think it was sometimes it would be ineffective. Sometimes you heal them. Um, but my point with like Metal Man, you could like kill him in 1 shot with his own metal blade. But I think from like 3 on, it was kind of a standard like whatever they're throwing at whatever boss you're fighting. If you use that weapon against the same weapon that you acquired earlier against them, it's always going to kill them in 7 shots.
Mhm.
And I think that was like the same for 3, 4, and 5. So it's like they kind of worked out a standard, but it was just kind of nice, like seeing like, especially with 2, like they're still trying to kind of figure out and just try to figure out what they're doing with the series. So it was just kind of
Well,
fun to
it
kind
was
of
all pretty
see
much
like a
downhill
little,
after that, right?
yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. I didn't. I think I played 3, but I didn't play many after that.
I think I've played them all up to like 5 and 6.
It goes up to
Then I
like
moved
9 or
on to
10, right?
well, 9 and 10 actually like came out like probably like 9 or
Yeah,
I
but
think 9
they're the
came out
same.
in 2009.
But
I
they're
mean,
the
it was
same
they
style of
kind of
game,
like
though, right?
yeah. I mean, I have 9 and 10, and those are just impossible, probably because I'm old. But yeah, it's and that's the other thing is like I think some of those games, at least for me playing, I benefited from playing on like an analog controller that was like versus playing on like a Bluetooth controller that just kind of has like a little split-second delay where I need that actual split second when I'm playing on an actual wired controller because I'm just that bad at gaming, I suppose.
There you go. Answers itself. John, what's
Mm-hmm.
your number 1?
Steam World Dig.
Oh wow, nice.
Nice.
I became obsessed with that game for a while. Just so essentially, you play this
A robot.
robot who's just digging, and it's I believe it's just everything's just pre-generated. So it's just kind of randomized each time you play. But your goal is to keep digging, so the game just keeps getting harder and harder. The more you dig, the deeper you dig into the earth, because you'll start uncovering like underground monsters. But then the treasure is also worth a lot more. So then, and then once you go topside, you have merchants you can sell like gold or whatever you find, and then you can kind of tweak your gear and build new things to kind of speed up the process. But it was a type of game I wouldn't normally play, but once I started playing it, it just kind of grabbed a hold of me because mechanics were simple enough. But for whatever, it caught me off guard because it's a game I usually wouldn't play. So it stuck with me
Sounds
for a while.
sounds like a very well elaborate sequel to Dig Dug.
Kind of.
Oh yeah.
A little bit. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a game similar to like that I've played quite a bit. It's not on my list. It'd be an honorable mention, but it's like it's in that whole digging. Is Super Mother Load?
Spelunky.
No, Super Mother Load. You're like a little. You're
Oh,
like this little. You're like this little Russian dude in a tank, and you like dive. You dig down and you mineral, and you don't really actually fight anything. It's all about digging deep down and upgrading and like mining but like it's dig dug without the enemies, but you can die. Anyway, SteamWorld Dig. Did you play the sequel?
No, I didn't play the sequel.
I know Jared really dug those two games. They have other games, but they kind of start shifting a bit in their gameplay. No, cool choice. I like that game too. I actually really like it, but I never played it. I didn't get very far for other reason. I think it's just like other games get in the way. I don't know. Cool choice. They did just recently. This is off topic a little bit, but that developer finally did their first 3D game. It's on Game Pass. It's called Gunk, and it's like a 3D game, and that was actually a pretty good game too. For what it's worth. Gunk,
just for Xbox or
just Game Pass? Yeah, it's a Game Pass exclusive, I think.
Okay.
Anyway, my number one, I'm going to go with what was I gonna? I've already talked about it a bit. It was recently, I think it was a couple months ago. It was given away for free on PS Plus. I really liked Tales of Iron. This is the little 2D RPG game that's narrated by the voice actor that did Geralt. It's a little mouse or a little rat guy, and you fight the frogs. It's an RPG kind of game. Combat's pretty cool. The art is super cool. I talked about it on the show a while back because I beat it and then I also platinumed it. It's a cool game. Cool story. I like like I said, the art's super cool. The music's pretty cool. I don't know. I liked everything about it. It took me because I don't usually play 2D games nowadays. Like it's very rare, and for some reason, as soon as I got into it, it just hooked me. I was just like, oh. And so when it hooks you like that, I just had to keep playing it for some reason. For whatever reason, I just had to keep playing it, and I was like, fuck, it's a great game. So that's gonna be my number one because I still think about it for some reason. I really like the art, and I hope they make a sequel. I actually think about my little rat guy King. He's like sitting there on his throne, and there's nothing to do now. He's just sitting there in a happy kingdom. Anyway, that is it. That was our top 3 favorite 2D games. I don't know if you guys have any honorable mentions. I mentioned one earlier, but I mean, there's a lot. I mean, fucking Street Fighter 2, you could say.
I was going to say Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, those games.
There's
fighting games, yeah.
There's a lot of fucking shit we could.
Plants vs. Zombies.
I was almost going to mention Super C, the sequel to Contra, but then I realized there was a couple levels that actually might be 3D in there.
Lemmings was a good. I mean, fucking Lemmings is a great game.
Oh, fuck yeah!
Tetris.
Love that game.
Yeah, Tetris. That was one I thought about as well.
I don't know if you guys ever played it, but like Lost Vikings. You ever play that game? Like you play like 3 different Vikings. And like one is a knife, one has like a shield, and like you have to play these 3 different characters through this thing. I think it's one of the first Blizzard games or Bethesda game. What? It's a big studio's first, like one of their early games. I forget which studio it is, but I think one has this knife, one can throw, I think, and then one can block. And then you have to go through the level trying to figure out which one you need to use in which situation. And so you just kind of move all 3 of them. It's a pretty cool fucking game. I think I still have it.
Yeah, it was published by Blizzard, and it was like on the Game Boy, the Genesis, Amiga, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, 16-bit stuff. I remember playing that.
It's a pretty pretty smart fucking game.
Did anybody play the Adventure Island series at all?
What is Adventure Island? That sounds fucking.
I mean, it's just a 2D platformer. But
it sounds super familiar. Adventure Island.
I never owned them. I always rented them. I mean, they were a lot of fun. I mean, they're very, I guess, like 2D Mario-esque. But are you looking it up right now, or?
Yeah, I'm looking it up because I'm like, what?
Can't even think of the publisher. Like, but it kind of also, I think some of the later games in the series kind of had like a similar idea to like Super Mario Brothers 3.
Okay,
That
so
it had kind of like an overworld map.
I know what game you're talking about. No, but I hate it. Isn't there a game called Hudson's Adventure Island?
Mm,
I remember playing that.
maybe I'm
Fucking Kabuki. I mean, I should have mentioned Kabuki Quantum Fighter. Obviously, that needs to be brought up in the talk here because who doesn't love their favorite male Kabuki hair whipping attack artist? You can speed run that game in like a half hour.
Yeah, there is a game, Adventure Island, by Hudson. So sometimes it's known as Hudson Adventure Island for the
okay.
NES.
Okay, so I've played the Hudson's Adventure Island version.
Yeah, and the main character, Master Higgins, is his name. Do I have that right or no?
Never
See
played
how
it.
good my memory is.
Bonk.
I don't know. I just
Bonk's Adventure. You guys ever
It
play
is
Oh.
Master Higgins.
You ever
But yeah.
play the
Nice.
Bonk? Wasn't Bonk
from TurboGrafx.
Yeah, but
I
they
think
broke
I
out.
remember
I have
playing that, yeah.
Bonk's Adventure for Game Boy. Actually pretty good game. I beat it. It's one of the few games I ever beat on Game Boy because I don't really like playing mobile games, but I did beat that. It's actually a pretty good game. You have you're a caveman kid and you have a big head and you like kill things with your head. It's great. I don't know what it is about these 2D games where you like use your hair or your head to like kill things, but I find that cool.
Hey, whatever.
Yeah, this list could have been pretty much the best games on anything before the PlayStation and the Dreamcast.
That's why I made sure I picked games that were
Yeah.
newer because I play a lot. I
Yeah.
was trying to pick newer stuff, but yeah. All right. Wow. Quickly, if you guys have any couch co-optionals, go.
If you haven't seen it, watch Beef on Netflix.
Saw it. It's awesome.
Really, it's really good.
It's
yeah.
Pretty good. John, you have anything?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I mentioned them before, but I've been re-listening to The Voids, which is headed by the Strokes frontman Julian Casablancas. It's one of his side projects, but it's good alternative music. They try different things.
Alternative
I
to
think
what?
well, alternative to the Strokes, I guess. But the first album I would say was more raw, and their second album is way, in my opinion, easier to listen to than their first album.
Way overproduced.
No, I think the first album, because Julian, I feel like this is just my own interpretation, but I feel like part of the schism that started developing the Strokes is Julian was their main songwriter for their first 3 albums, and then they took a break, and I feel like the schism was because Julian wanted to take them a certain direction and the other band members didn't want to go in that direction. And I feel like with the Voids, he fulfills that direction that he wanted to go in, and that's and similar with all the other band members of the Strokes, they all have their own side projects. Some have multiple side projects. So I feel like that's why the group has come back together and is in a healthier working relationship, because they all have their own outlets now, instead of each one trying to compete like, well, this is what I want to do now. They all have their own outlets for what they want to do.
Little do they know is that it's that tension that creates the better music. It makes the hits. Oh well. Just kidding. I mean, sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not. Nick DeWin, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'm just gonna plug something that's 2.5 months away.
2.5
And I'll
months.
probably do a reminder one. Yeah, that's the Craft Beer and Wine Festival at Esther Short Park in Vancouver.
Quiet
that we
Riot
need
and Great
to
White.
decide if Yep.
Nice.
So we need to
The
decide if we're
bands?
gonna go or yeah.
So Quiet Riot and Great White are opening it on Friday night. We will probably not go Friday. We would probably go Saturday.
No.
But
Sounds good to me.
but yeah, it's kind of funny. We're like, what? That's actually yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, that's like
We were like, what? Why?
so yep, more beer and wine festival of
Mhm.
goodness.
No,
My
but I mean,
oh yeah, sorry. We do
No, I
have
was
to
just gonna
decide.
say-
We have to decide if we're gonna go or not. Yes.
but I'm always down for it because I love that park.
There you go. It's nice.
Yeah, make sure you get your tickets early. Don't want them selling out.
It won't sell out.
Yeah, that's where we actually don't buy our tickets because we did buy our tickets last year and we were in a giant long line and those people that
Just
were
came in to
paying at
buy
the
their
door
tickets,
were-
just walked right in.
Yeah. just walked right in.
It's like, what the fuck? Anyway.
And they probably paid a couple cents more.
80 cents, I believe, is the difference.
Yeah, not even $1.
I have 3 movies I watched. I put them they were in the Discord, but I'm going to mention them on the podcast. I watched Air, According to Legend. It's the Nike and Michael Jordan story. Fucking awesome. I watched the Michael J. Fox documentary on Apple TV Plus. Also fucking awesome. And Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I thought it was going to be an awful movie when I first saw the trailer, but it got really positive reviews, and it's actually a really good movie. Of all the studios that finally like cashed in on it's basically Guardians of the Galaxy but Dungeons and Dragons, and it works. It's really fucking funny. Hugh Grant's fucking hilarious. Anyway, I really
thought you were
enjoyed
gonna
it.
say, out of all the Dungeons and Dragons movies, this is the best one.
That is also true because the previous one was a bomb, I believe. But this one, I mean, even if you look at the tomato meter and like all that shit, it's like in the 90s, so it's pretty well regarded. So anyway, all 3 of these movies are pretty awesome. Air is on Amazon Prime right now for free. Still is on Apple TV Plus, and Dungeons and Dragons I watched on Friends server that you guys cannot access. But you can torrent it if you'd like to. But I'm not recommending that because that's stealing. Let's get out of here. Any teases, Nick, to win on what beer we're gonna have compete against Waldo next week? Any teases? You have any idea? You don't have to have an idea.
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
It's about 90 minutes of it,
Oh, 90 minutes of Dogfish Head, huh?
maybe.
It's about 6 inches of it.
About 6 inches of 90 minutes.
And
90
then the
minutes
week
of-
after it'll be the 120.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know if 120 is available right now. I don't know
Nick
if
won't
I
make
wanna
it till
search
the
that
end of the
hard for
show.
it.
on that one.
Cool. Well,
That'll turn into the RIP episode.
RIP. Wait, what is the RIPD? What is that move? Never mind. Not a good segue because we're already dead in the water. Hey, I want to thank Nick, John, Dave, myself. Aaron was here for a hot minute. No thanks to Jared though because he couldn't make it. For joining here on the couch. Remember, you can email us at places and listen to us everywhere. And
All the socials.
all the socials at the socials. No one cares. Like, listen, if you made it this far, you don't really give a shit. You're just like, all right, it's getting over with. I need another podcast to get me through my work week. So like, you're like, over. You hit stop, and then you move on to the
Jared's
next
like,
podcast.
I'm almost done with my brood. Just give me 5 more minutes, please.
I need to get skipping this part.
Yeah, everyone's just like, but this is the best part because this is where we learn how big. No. And then just
6 inches.
this is where we learn how big, and we just cut it. Like it just stops. Like that's the end of the episode. Anyway, for Couch Co-op, I'm Ian. Remind you to please be excellent to each other. Wild stallions.
Stallions are wild.
And that's how I wound up with that STD. Sorry.
Couch Co-op.
Kids.
So STI is sexually transmitted independence.